Okay. Welcome to our August meeting. I'm sorry I've been talking too much, then we're already 3 minutes late. But again, welcome. Let me call the meeting to order. And Andy will not be with us tonight. So at this time, let me ask you to stand and pledge allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, we need to approve our agenda. We've been requested to
Yes,
change
what we're
the
asking
agenda.
to do, sir, is to move item 8A to item 3.1 to consider public comment policy, and then pick up from there with the agenda.
Okay. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda with that change?
So moved.
Okay. Lee, second?
Second.
Vicky? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Then at that time, we will now move to what was originally on the agenda as the, was it 7A? Excuse me, 8A. This is a public comment policy. As many of you know, as we're growing, we're having more and more people attend meetings, and we want to have a consistent in how we deal with our residents and people that don't live in the city. They get to talk to. I think city residents are better, more important. But anyway,
They can't
you
hear
want.
They can't hear you.
Well, I know, that's why I'll try to talk louder. This is the public comment policy. We've decided we need it now because we need to control how long people talk, how nice they aren't sometimes. And this is a recommendation from our attorney. And Darrell, you want to kind of give us a summary of what we're considering?
Yes, just in summary, many governmental entities are having to enact and put forth these types of public participation policies. It should be known that obviously this was discussed by the council and the mayor at work session at length. The city council, the mayor, city staff, the city manager, everybody appreciates the comments, the public comments that are received, and everybody that's up here on the dais wants to hear those comments. And obviously the purpose of city council meetings, one of those purposes is to be able to hear your comments, but that's just one of the reasons. So there will be a 3-minute time limit, and the council asks that everybody else is courteous and respectful of others during the public participation portion of the meeting. They want to hear every single comment that's made by everybody. In the past, I don't know that it's been clear to some of the participants who've shown up at the city council meetings. I don't know that it's been clear to them or that they have understood that this is actually a business meeting, and it's a business meeting of the mayor and council. And so it is the hope of the mayor and council that participants will conduct themselves accordingly. So speakers are not allowed to discuss matters that are related to those things that are not permitted pursuant to the Open Meetings Act. For example, real property acquisition, any issues that would be involving attorney-client privilege. You can't discuss city personnel issues or matters that where zoning cases are before the or have come before the Planning Commission for zoning hearings. So if you would like to participate, the policy requires that you would state your name and direct your comments to the council as a whole. A participant is not allowed to direct comments to any individual member of the council or the mayor. Any obscene, derogatory, slanderous comments are not going to be tolerated. any member of this council is allowed to stop a participant's comments at any time, and a participant's remarks will end when the 3-minute allotted time has expired. So that, in a nutshell, is it. There are exceptions that can be permitted by mayor and council to this particular policy, but I think that covers it.
Okay, historically, we really, this is a trend happening across the country in local government. So that's what we want to adopt, is to have our policy. There'll be a form that people asking to speak will need to fill out. And we're trying to, I don't know that we're ever going to have, we're going to designate 30 minutes for public comments, but I'm not sure if we'd have like 15 people. If so, then we would cut back that to 2 minutes. So that's our goal, is to maintain 30 minutes for that comment. I can't remember us having 15 people ever speak. We might have had 10, but still, that's something that is in line with what a lot of other cities are doing now. And so it's a recommendation from our attorney. We did discuss it at the work session. At this time, could I ask a motion to approve policy?
Motion that we approve it.
Okay, motion by Dennis.
Second.
Okay, Chris, seconds. Any further discussion or comments?
No, I think this is very common all over the place. It's common in the government, other government that I work in as well, that you have some kind of decorum in this public setting, and I think it's a good policy.
Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, this passes, thank you. Now, we'll go back to part of the original agenda, and at this time, there were no appearances on the schedule.
Anybody sign up, Karen?
Nobody signed up, so
I got here just 7 o'clock, and you interrupted me.
you want to sign up?
I wanted to, yeah.
Okay, well.
I know just about everybody here. My name is Dennis Holt. I live at 343 Old Canton Road, and I have lived in Ball Ground since 2015, and we've owned a property there since 08 and didn't build until 15. Being a resident of what I consider the historic district, we're very concerned about traffic flow and also speeding. And Eric has made a valiant attempt on several occasions to put up digital speed limit signs, which unfortunately accomplish almost nothing, because people actually, like we've talked before, they'll push it so they make the double bars so you don't know what your speed is. I would like to suggest that the city, with the increasing density we're having in the historic district, consider making it more like a subdivision in terms of stop signs. I truly believe that putting speed bumps on Old Canton would be not a good thing. I think actually dangerous. What I would like to see the city do is put three-way stops at every single intersection going down Old Canton Road and also Valley Street. I have repeatedly been out in my yard. I'm a gardener. I'm out there all day. The only one of you that's close by is Chris. But I'm seeing a massive amount of speeding going on. Occasionally, Brian would come by with some officers, but it's kind of hard if you're not there all the time. But especially in the morning, people are flying down Old Canton. It's a steep slope, easily 40, 45, 50, and I've even seen a Dodge Charger one time flying down. I swear he was going interstate speed. They use it as a cut through to get to Valley. So my suggestion to the city would be, let's control the traffic by having more traffic control. Three-way stops at everything. That would be at Chestnut, Old Canton, at back in Old Canton, going down Old Canton. Literally every single three-way stop. The speed bumps are going to, again, I consider dangerous, but I think three-way stops there would make people pause. There's only one 25-mile-an-hour speed limit up by John Bird's house, and then the entire length, there's no other speed limits except the one I put in my own front yard to hopefully slow down people, and that accomplished absolutely nothing. But Valley Street needs three-way stops at every single place. The only place now currently is Depot Street. And I think that does a great job of slowing things down, but it needs to be one at Chestnut and also at Beck.
Okay.
Down there. I do appreciate it.
Well, thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
I think that throughway stops, I hadn't really thought about that before, but I prefer those over speed bumps.
Oh, yes, definitely. You really don't want to do that.
But anyway, we'll consider that. Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Okay, Eric, any announcements?
The next event we have will be August 27th, 7 to 9 p.m. Be the Vintage Vixens in City Park.
Okay, that's, have they played here before?
Been about, I think it was pre-pandemic that they played, but yes, they have.
Well, that was, the one other night was very well received. It was a good event, so we're becoming a go-to place. So we look forward to that on August the 27th. All right, let's move on to approve the minutes from our July 7th work session and the July 14th council meeting. Any changes or questions about what's been submitted in draft? If not, motion to approve both sets of minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay. There's a second? Second, Dennis? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. I assume nobody's opposed. All right, good. All right, let's now move to item 7, old business, item 7B. This is to consider the second reading of convenience store ordinance. This is something that we,
Liquor control.
excuse me. Oh, I had it marked off as public comments. Well, let me skip then, go back to the amended litter control ordinance. This is something we did the first approval of in July. We did have a work session with reps from the Tyson and the Georgia Poultry Foundation. Anybody want to make a motion to table this at this time?
I would like to make a motion
Okay.
to table it. Do I need to put for an amount of time or just table?
Table until we put it back on the agenda. Okay, motion to table, is there a second?
Second, can I ask Eric a question?
Sure.
Have you heard back from them or anything after?
Yes, we've had several great conversations, we feel like, with Tyson and also with Georgia Poultry Federation. Tyson has allocated the capital funds they need to completely tarp all of their vehicles coming through ball ground with a target date of March 1st to have completed that. They still stand by the thing that it is not a mandate, as we received, their constitutional challenge. But they are willing to go ahead voluntarily to move this forward, and then also would like to work with us as a supporting corporate citizen to expedite the bypass, anything they can do to help make that happen, because their drivers would prefer to go around ball ground as opposed to through downtown.
table this until April, because I think a litter ordinance is appropriate, but we want to still work with Tyson.
My recommendation would be to simply withdraw the ordinance at this time to allow staff to bring back a new ordinance that only deals with the double tarping of the trash trucks that is also in here. We could move forward with that, be silent on poultry, and see what happens in March. Is that?
Okay. Okay, this is a table until we decide to put it back on the agenda. Okay, we had a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Just a comment, I'm very hopeful the poultry industry they're big lobbyists in Georgia, and I think they're going to be helpful in getting us trying to expedite that bypass being built, because it's even when roads are built in Georgia, even they think it's doing fast, it's slow motion. So we're eager to get started on it. So I think they'll be able to help us, and I think they appreciate us considering working with them on this litter issue. All right, the second item now is on old business is the reading of the convenience store ordinance. First reading was in July. Can you read that, Eric?
I can.
Okay, well, I can't. So would you just update people here on the items in this proposed ordinance?
Right, this is a new ordinance to try and control the number and also the closure of gas stations and convenience stores. First, it defines if it sells gas, it's a gas station regardless. A convenience store does not sell gas, but gas stations can sell convenience items. It limits the new gas stations to 2 stations at any one intersection. There would be no new gas stations permitted on Gilmer Ferry, Old Canton Road, Valley Street, Mound Street, Chestnut Street, or Groover Street. No new gas stations on the west side of Ball Ground or Canton Highway. Also, if a gas station closes, it remains closed for 2 years, then we will work through Georgia EPD, Underground Storage Tank Division, in an effort to get their underground tanks removed so they don't sit there and leach into the soil.
Okay, now we discussed this at our work session in July, and then we approved the first reading in July, a week later. Any comments or questions? I have a motion to approve the second reading.
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion, Chris, second, Vicky. Okay, again, any discussion, any further comments? Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Thank you. Now, Eric, this will go in effect now, right?
Yes, sir.
So it's in effect as of tonight. All right, let's move on to new business. We have 2 items that we've dealt with one of them already. So we'll move on to the first reading of the amendment to our alcohol ordinance. This is, it has to do with distance between liquor stores and numbers. Eric, you want to summarize?
Basically, the only change to the ordinance is to establish a minimum distance of 5,280 feet door to door between liquor stores.
Okay. So there, at this time though, current liquor store, I don't think you can go very far, more than a mile, to be, and still be in the city for commercial development. But at this time, we're just going to be adding that distance requirement to our ordinance. Have a motion to approve this as the first reading? Okay, Dennis makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Chris, second. Any comments, discussions, council members? Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that unanimous. So that completes our short, new, and old business tonight. At this time, let me call on Eric for his monthly report.
We ended the month of July in general fund with $772,000 cash on hand. Of that, about $160,000 is already obligated, leaving approximately $600,000 for operations. SPLOST, we have $180,000 cash on hand. Fire, which is a pass-through, every dime collected is remitted to Cherokee County. We have $4,673. That number will grow quite a bit over the tax season, the next 3 months before we remit. On utilities, we have $1,092,000 cash on hand for a total of $2,050,000. Our July revenues and expenditures in the general fund was revenue of $94,000 against expenses of $86,000. You'll see our numbers match going across because July is the first month of our fiscal year. On SPLOST, revenue was $65,743 against expenses of $65,575. On utilities, our revenue was $306,000 against expenditures of $202,000. In general administration, staff continues to work on the study gathering information for council on a possible freeze on property values for homesteaded properties. In this concept, mayor and council would be allowed to select a year in which they wanted that freeze to take place. It would require a voter referendum to authorize that freeze to take place. We're studying now the long-term impacts to revenue for the city, and both coming up with the positive and negatives of coming into this. But for our homestead properties, this would make it a much more straightforward taxation process. So we hope to have information within the next 45 to 60 days to be able to present to mayor and council. Proceeding with the agreements with Bureau Veritas, legal has completed their contract review. Comments have gone back to Bureau Veritas. Again, engineering consultation for unsafe buildings, existing property maintenance code, residential and commercial building code, actually conducting the code inspections on new construction. We also would have the ability to choose through an a la carte menu for items like stormwater and inspection of existing stormwater facilities. We've also begun our jurisdictional coding process. This is a process we go through every 5 years with a complete inventory between all of our addresses in the city. The state requires us to allow public utilities to use our rights of way that we have had to purchase and maintain. In exchange for that, they have to pay us an annual fee based on how many customers they have and what they are charging. So we do this about every 5 years. Last time through, we picked up about $17,000, $18,000 that we had been shorted in payments over the reporting period. So we've started with gas this month. We're going through all the gas customers, and we'll just take one utility a month and work through these. Capital projects, our capital improvement plan, recall that was sent out to mayor and council on the list of projects. We're now putting that in a formal document for mayor and council to review. Should be presented at the September work session. and ready for adoption in September, if we're still good with all the projects. Police station, finally picking up a little bit of speed this past week, and then the rain got to us. They started painting on Tuesday and got rained out. Hopefully we'll get a few good days in next week. The HVAC is complete. Ceiling tiles are now installed in most of the building, right there at the breezeway connection. I don't know if it's the glass manufacturer that can't measure or the contractor can't measure, but this is the second batch of glass that's the wrong size for the openings. So we're back waiting for glass again. We are at this time, and this number is going to go down, but as of this afternoon, we're approximately $130,000 under budget and still on target to get in there by the first week of November. Old Dawsonville Road will have a good section of curbing poured tomorrow in front of the towns north of Calvin Farmer Park. They will then begin next week with the curb and gutter on the east side of the roadway. Spoke with Georgia Power this afternoon. They think that they should have all the documents they need for their pole relocations at Gruber Street for the turn radius expansion. As soon as they have those documents, they said they would try to move us to the head of the list to get those poles relocated so that we could get that radius expanded. Our downtown crosswalks, the materials have come in with the exception of the poles. So we have the materials, but no poles to mount them on. We expect them in any day. Once they come in, we'll complete the crossing at Civic Drive. On the Veterans Memorial, the marble on the insets is scheduled to be installed next Friday. The flagpole has been installed. The seals are scheduled to ship tomorrow. Power requests are in to Georgia Power. That's probably going to be about a 30-day process to get power in. The first batch of bricks has been delivered for engraving, and so should be installed late next week. Raised almost $22,000 to this point, and project's moving along well. I don't anticipate any issues being ready for November 11th. Downtown mural. We have 2 of them that we've been approved for and that council has allocated funding for. This is the one image that was selected, but we're kind of back to the drawing board this afternoon with some items that the building owner came back with. So UGA is working on a couple of tweaks and see if they can get something that everybody's happy with, but they have consented to allow it on the building.
Who selected
The design was done by the Dodd School, and then I sent them out to the mayor and Ms. Rogers to look at and see what they wanted so we could start working through. Went to the building owner. Ultimately, the building owner is going to have the final say of what goes on their building. The building owner did also request that that mural be shrunk by about 20%, just roughly, so that it's not the entire building.
Good.
As it's shown there. This is the second mural, and this design has been approved by the building owner, and legal counsel will be preparing for us the leases. They're no-cost leases, but just to make sure the murals don't get covered up for the first 7 years that they're there.
Can we have the historic designation about Coca-Cola on that
Yeah.
mural? Yeah, this was a location as a ball ground, had a bottling,
On the bottom.
Coca-Cola bottling
We can
company
ask them to put something
in the
on
early
bottom, yes.
When our
1900s.
plant was here in Ball Ground, you know, for when it opened and the years of operation.
Got it. Turn lane expansion, State Route 372. Inquiries have been submitted to Bartow Paving. It was supposed to start June 15th. The signs showed up It got laid out, got marked. They say now they think they'll be back the first week in September. Paving, next month, September, we should see the resurfacing of Stripling Street. That's the top photograph in the area shown. Also see resurfacing in the bottom photo, that's Lowry Street. So those two streets should get asphalt next week. Water and sewer, we'll be sending out a community notice. Our residents are going to be seeing a lot of little antennas and different things hooked to water valves and hydrants beginning August 15th. Our pre-work meeting will be that morning at 9 o'clock. They'll be here for about 2 weeks sounding all the various valves and hydrants to pinpoint leak locations within the system. We've been turned loose by the Cherokee County Water and Sewer Authority, has given us the go-ahead to design a master meter purchase point. That area on the red dot upper left is just above their booster lift station on Old Canton Road. Our goal is, you see that driveway that goes out to the end and almost touches the cul-de-sac on North Mountain Brook Drive, would be to extend the water line under the road, under the rail, along that road and connect in there at Mountain Brook. We deliver at the highest points in Mountain Brook over double what state code requires. But our residents there would like a little bit more pressure than what they have. More importantly, this would give our third source of feeding that community, which is our largest residential community. So we will start engineering on that and see where that takes us. Our service line inventory has officially begun. We know at this point we have blue poly, black poly, copper, and galvanized, and we're hoping that the nasty L word for lead does not show up. We believe we have already removed all the lead from the system, but we're going through the processes now to verify that. The first 70–80% of this is going to be fairly easy. The last portion is going to be the tough portion. That's when we can't determine from records because it's old, and we're actually either going to have to dig up and verify on both sides of the meter exactly what the materials are in there. Our goal is to be complete by October of '23, which would be 12 months ahead of the federal mandate of October of '24. Again, a reminder that our Old Canton Road water tank will be taken out of service on September 5th. That means our entire system will then be on Etowah River water as opposed to groundwater. It'll be out as we completely rehab, reline, and repaint this tank. This is our source tank from the well. So whenever this tank is out of service, the well is out of service as well. On parks, all the information has been gathered for the new feature on the website. It has gone to the webmaster for final development. What this will give our residents is kind of a one-stop shop for more than just the traditional baseball and basketball sporting activities that are available to their children, but I'll also have everything from girls flag football to anything we could find around the county that they can just click the link and go and find information to be involved in those events. Roberts Lake Trail, we have closed the grant finally, received our final payment from Department of Interior for $10,000. That total grant was $100,000. We're working now to schedule our final inspection with DNR on that. In the trail extension to turn it into a 1.4 mile trail is now about 80% complete. On public safety, 1,028 calls for service with 154 citations last month. New Explorer is here and on the road now, and the new F-150 is slated for production on the 29th. It's a great date, but they don't tell us how long after it's produced until we get it. So, planning and zoning, the new existing land use layers are now available on GIS. The renewed GIS contract with InterDev has been put to bed. We have 4 developments currently under plan review. Creekwood Park, that has taken so long up on Northridge, finally got their transformers from Georgia Power. So that's been their holdup. They'll be pulling building permits probably now within the next 2 months. The draft land use tables have been prepared, and the new zoning ordinance will be distributed to mayor and council at the work session in September. Take a good look at all the changes and the improvements that Mr. Luley has done in that document. At this time, we have no pending annexations or zoning cases.
Okay, any questions for Eric? Like we don't ask him all the time. Okay, thank you, Eric.
Excuse me, so one other thing. After everybody's comments, we would ask for a very brief executive session to discuss potential litigation.
Good. All right, thank you. I just wanted to bring up one thing for the council to consider at our next work session. How many here lived in Ball Ground in 2007, 2008? Would you say we're different?
Oh, yeah.
Development-wise, people wanting to, we actually put together, and we had public comments and public hearings about it. We put together that valley overlay as a way to kind of simplify and encourage development in our core city, because we weren't getting anything. Our downtown, half the stores were just empty or closed. We weren't doing any. We're losing population. So that's why we put together the valley overlay to as a way to expedite any potential development. We're different now, and I'd like us to consider actually repealing that overlay and just going back to the zoning approval. The overlay, in a lot of ways, people thought we were doing things and hiding it, but the fact is we formally approved, and it was publicly known that we did this overlay back in 2008. Is that right? 2008. And so but we're so different now that and I think we can now move to rely on the Planning Commission. Right now, that's jointly with the county. Eventually, we're going to have our own. But the Planning Commission handle any kind of zoning, any kind of development needs to be, should be treated as a zoning case if it has to be rezoned. So instead of it being in the overlay where we traded off the architectural control for density, I'm just going to ask that we consider removing it. And I'd like to put that on the agenda for in our work session for September, and likely do a resolution to hold off any additional cases in case until we get that set up. That's all I wanted to tell you tonight. Vicki?
No, my comment would be everybody that didn't attend the concert, Guardians of the Jukebox this past Saturday, but you missed a great show. We barely squeaked by. Did it ever start raining there? Okay, probably you were wrong. But anyway, it was a great show. A lot of people came, and I would love to see our city do more concerts like this. It was great.
It was.
It really was great, and Gary Lamb did a wonderful job. You can see that's what drives him, is setting these up. Everything was good. The city contributed by having the porta-johns there. That was one thing we identified from the barbecue and I didn't hear one single complaint. Music was great. The crowd was well-behaved and just had a lot of fun. Very neighborly thing to see. Thanks to the city staff for all the work they did to clean it up and get it prepared.
We had probably, what, 5,000 people there?
Oh, it was a
Very
lot.
crowded.
It was a very big crowd, and I'm lucky I was actually able to attend, even though my wife said I need to be with her at a party she was giving somewhere. I stayed at the concert as long as I could, but it was good. It really was. Chris?
I'm good. I just echo what they say. The concert was fabulous. Biggest turnout I've ever seen for one night. Attended quite a few of them, so it was really good.
Lee?
Question, and a comment. Are fireworks legal at our own houses? Anytime we want?
Fireworks are now, there's a time period that they can be done.
10 p.m., Chief? I think there's a few days during the year it goes past midnight.
July New Year's, I think it's like 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. I think it's closer to midnight or 1 a.m. But I have to look to be 100% certain.
The reason I asked is just behind us the other night, there was doing fireworks. There were some of them, it sounded like bombs going on. And, it scared our dog, didn't know what to do. And the other thing is, I'd like to see here on Beck Street if we could do no parking. Because I think it's wonderful the way the garden club works in the garden, but yet they park on the road and there's no two-way traffic. So if we could think about that sometime.
Hopefully, sometime we'll be able to add parking adjacent to the city hall and the botanical garden off of Old Canton, because we have the space. But there is a lot of parking down on that street. You're right.
It sure is.
Fireworks wise, Daryl, can that be limited compared to
State
state
code.
law? I mean, state law set that up. I think at the same time they approved being able to buy fireworks in Georgia, but we can't restrict it further.
I can take a look at it and then work with the chief and look at what can be done.
Okay. Well, I mean, like on 4th of July and New Year's Eve, that you do have people that do that later, but 3 a.m. Let's just see if we actually can cut that back.
And some of that sounded like a cannon going
I
off.
thought it was gunshots.
Yeah,
The first
gunshots
couple that
first.
went off.
Finally,
thought it
I
was
saw
gunshots.
some fireworks going up, but it sounded like we were in a war zone.
Okay, we'll consider that then. Daryl, you have anything else you want to bring up?
No, sir.
And
Qualifying for 3 council seats will open on Monday morning at 9 a.m. You can come in and qualify Monday and Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. On Thursday, it concludes at 4:30 p.m. So if you come in at 4:31, sorry, it ends at 4:30. And Wednesday, yes, on Wednesday. So if you're considering running for city council, we'll look for you one of those days next week.
that'll be,
It has been advertised as in the Cherokee Tribune for the past 2 Sundays, so we are required to advertise in the legal organ of the city, and that is the Cherokee Tribune, so.
do we have that on,
Website.
can put on our sign out here?
Emily left on vacation, I was gone the end of last week, and Emily left, and so she usually handles that. I hated to ask her on vacation to put it up there, so it'll go up Monday morning.
I do have one additional, just to remind everybody that we're selling the bricks for the memorial, and that I know that there are forms in the city hall right there where Emily sits, and also if you want to get a form off of our website. So memorial bricks are there also.
A question on the bricks, I don't know who could answer this. You could fill it out online and submit it in, but there was no way to make payment online, so how?
Right. Emily is on vacation, but that goes to her.
Okay,
When she's back, she'll call you
okay, because this
from
was
that contact
done
information.
a few weeks ago
Okay.
and never heard anything, so I didn't
Okay.
know what to say.
I'll
to
get
that.
with her, but yeah.
Okay,
Because his brick went in.
okay. How'd you know I was talking about his?
Well, you said you submitted it and your name
Oh,
was
did
on
I?
it.
Oh, shoot.
Okay, yeah, that's, I need one of those, I need some of the forms myself. But that's turned out to be, I think it's going to be a beautiful monument there, veterans. And I think even Roger will like it.
Probably.
He's been a big advocate, and I'm glad we're getting it done. Okay, well, this may be the shortest meeting we've had in a long time, so.
Go into executive session.
But we're going to adjourn for executive session, and motion to adjourn and move into executive session. Okay. Second? Okay, all in favor? We have to do that for executive session. We have to actually adjourn the regular meeting, and then we will reconvene in executive session. And when we adjourn the executive session, we'll actually open it up if anybody wants to come back in. There's nothing else on the agenda though, so, but again, it'll just be a session for those of us up here on the counter. So thank you for coming.